So I was on Google. I just typed in Word Play Shakespeare. First one, Word Play Shakespeare. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, it has a username and a password. So the username, and we sent this on a Edsby message, right, Mrs. Rosa?
That's right.
Okay.
It's Plant 2020, all lowercase. And the password is Romeo, lowercase.
It worked.
Good.
You did?
Good.
I'm trying it, yeah.
Awesome. So for those of you that are watching, we have 2 students here who are also participating in how to get into Word Play and go to Romeo and Juliet. Do you want to introduce yourselves?
Well, I'm Julia. I don't know. They just know my voice. Julia Brown, to be specific.
And I'm Lily Marshall.
And Lily Marshall. Thank you guys for joining us.
So when you log in, here's the 3 plays that are available. Of course, we're doing Romeo and Juliet, so you're going to click here to turn page. And it gives you the complete film and text. And you can start with the foreword, just read that. But I love this slogan right here, Mrs. Rosa. Half the page is a stage.
Half the page is a stage. I love it too. And I pointed out that that first paragraph talks about that plays are to be performed and watched, and that the information crucial for understanding them is contained in the body language of the actors and the oratory and the emphasis of positioning. So that's why wordplay is so incredible. It's a great tool for understanding Shakespeare.
And what do you think about the choice that they made, the company, to not use period costumes?
Not use period costumes. I think that's a good choice, because if you think about it, there's so many different performances of Romeo and Juliet. There is the one with Leonardo DiCaprio is set in LA, and it's sort of gang-like, current time, maybe even futuristic time. And then you have West Side Story, which is basically Romeo and Juliet set in New York City. So I think it's great, you know, that it's showing that you can create Romeo and Juliet in so many different versions and time periods.
Right, and I think maybe a reason too is that it doesn't distract from the actual words and performance, the movements of the actors and actresses. I really like the 2 heads of the family. You know, they're just in 3-piece suits. You know, it's like representative of typical fathers. You know.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So that is Capulet and Montague right there in number 1.
I've always liked how Juliet kind of rhymes with Capulet.
I agree. Very nice.
You know, Shakespeare was pretty smart.
That's so true. And we'll talk more about puns in a minute.
Oh, good one. Okay, so this took me about 10 minutes to figure out, and that's why I put that giant arrow on my PowerPoint. Here, I'm like, I read the prologue, I read the synopsis, and I'm ready to click on the 2 fathers, and I'm ready to click on Romeo and Juliet. And I'm clicking, and I'm clicking. I'm like, where's the play? Why isn't it moving? You gotta use this arrow to the right.
Okay. And our pictures might be blocking that arrow, but it is over to the right.
Right. And if you want to go backwards, there's one all the way to the left. And it's more like a caret than an arrow, almost like a parentheses, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah. So this very beginning is the chorus, and the chorus in ancient Greek times was a big part of the plays back then, where you would have 2 or 3 actors or actresses, and they had very demonstrative masks and looks on their face, and they would tell you kind of what you were gonna see, kind of thing.
Right. They were setting the scene, just like it says in the prologue. So this is one of Shakespeare's probably most famous sonnets, 2 households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene. So I love this. And then when I was in high school, I would have been told to memorize this introduction for sure.
Wow, that's daunting.
It is daunting. I know 2 sonnets of Shakespeare's that I memorized many years ago, and I still can recite them.
Do you perform those for the students when you're actually in class?
Oh, sure, because if I had to learn them so many years ago and I still know them, I like to prove to them.
Are they duly impressed when you?
No.
I thought they would shower you with like money and flowers and things like that. No.
Girls, do you think you should memorize this prologue?
Personally, I feel as if as long as we get the idea of what's the setting and stuff like that, I don't really think we need to memorize it.
I
As long as
agree.
we get the basic idea. If not, we're gonna be just get tired of it. We're like, okay, we get it.
Right. It's not that different than nowadays. Like when you make a YouTube video, in order to make a good one, the first couple seconds, you're supposed to tell your audience what they're going to see. So it's like,
and don't forget to subscribe.
It's something like, in this episode, you're going to see my dog, you know, and then we're going to do this and that, you know.
Exactly right. So true.
Yeah. All right, so let's advance here.
Okay.
I want them to see in Act 1, Scene 1 there, all the different options that you can do to learn things. So
I love that it gives a synopsis of what's going on instead of just jumping. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And on my screen, you can like click the characters to see like the description. I don't know how to flip my video. Here we go.
Isn't
like,
that fantastic?
Here we can just like click it and it gives you like a description of each character.
Isn't that awesome? So if you're a little confused about who is on stage at that moment, you can go back and click on the picture and it gives you a background, who they're related to. Are they part of the Capulets or the Montagues? How are they related to Romeo or Juliet? And what is their role? So it helps you really clarify what's going on.
Let's just watch the first 2 or 3 lines of this. And I'm not sure if the sound's going to come through, but then I'll stop it and I'll hit more and show all the options.
Great.
Gregory, on my word, will not pull or will draw.
Okay, so did you all hear that or no?
It was a little bit faint.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little bit faded.
All right. Well, then you hit more.
This is the best part, and my students had trouble finding that more button at first, so I had to write back and say, remember, the more button is underneath the actors.
Yeah. Well, I think, and this is a big thing, Mrs. Rosa, if they're on a phone, this more button may be buried. See, like, if I move it like that, you're like, there's no more button.
I can't see the screen, Mr. Penn. Like,
oh, you can?
No, like, yeah, where's the...
Oh, okay. But you get the idea that, like, certain things cannot be visible unless you move these slider bars.
That's a good point, up and down. So you can find the more button, which takes you to this remarkable tool with modern English. So if you are totally confused about what Shakespeare is saying, you can hit modern English and it's more in everyday language.
So the first 3 lines that we just heard, you find out that he's saying they're drawing a comparison to people that would carry coal. Now, that's not a really big job nowadays, but I guess it probably was back then.
So a servant who carries coal is probably like a lower level servant, and that's sort of an insult that they are saying, you know, you're the coal carrier, or the collier, I think is what it's called in Shakespeare's language, and that's an insult, and they are just sort of just, what's the word, where they're just harassing each other, joyfully harassing one another. And he's calling him a collier. and they're bantering. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
They're like best friends nowadays, insulting each other.
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And what's also great about here is at the top under more, it has a page summary. So if you're not sure what's going on, you can click page summary, and it tells you two Capulet servants, Samson and Gregory, enter. And with puns, they are, it's bleeped out because of our pictures, but it says basically Samson, I guess that Gregory is calling Samson a coward. They're bantering, again, just playing, joking around with one another. The other nice thing is that this link will give you another adaptation of this scene from another production. So if you don't like the production that they've shown you, you can watch another one, which is, I think, under, oh, maybe not, stage production at the bottom.
Yeah, from British television, it looks like.
Amazing. And I just want to say to all
they
those,
do have the period costumes in that one.
they do. Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah, this preview was, if you watched our link in the PowerPoint, as well as that video I did, you'll see the UK television production with the costumes.
Oh, that's fantastic. And then the question for each page, there's a question. And what's great about this is, I think go over to questions. I'm not sure. Oh, no, that's it. Yes, question. Which phrase from this passage means I am extremely provoked? And you read all of those, decide on your own which one you think it is. There's no way to submit it. My students wanted to know, why can't I click on it and it says yes or no? All you do is decide, and then you scroll to the bottom to see if your answer is correct. So if you scroll down, you'll see, well, you know, I think it's under question. Do you see the one that says question at the top under more?
Oh yeah, questions, yeah.
Question, there it is. And then if you scroll down, it will show you that the correct answer is D.
Now,
and so you just,
this is interesting. What's the 7615? Do you see that?
that's where you find it in the lines over onto the left.
That's smart.
Exactly.
Now, you know, sometimes I just enjoy watching or seeing a play performed. So, I mean, personally, what I might do is go through and watch the entire scene all the way through. Just enjoy it the first time, you know. And then I would probably go back and do this with each page, you know.
That's a really good idea. Just see what you can get from it, just listening to Shakespeare, watching the actors and reading their body language, and then going back and seeing if your comprehension was correct. And what's really going to be fun for this assignment is when we also ask them to watch a play, like an actual movie of Romeo and Juliet, type of assignment. So Mr. Penn, we are going to talk a little bit about an assignment at the end of the week, right?
So I recently was reminded that this is Good Friday coming up.
Oh, right. No school on Friday.
Right. So, you know, every day is just such a wonderful learning experience in this digital world. Right, girls?
Yes. Every day is different.
Every day is different.
It didn't even cross my mind that Friday was something different and big. So I think I'm personally going to put the new due date for Monday. There isn't anything Monday after Easter going on, is there?
I don't think so. I think Monday's a school day.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Does that sound good to you girls? Just going to Monday instead of Friday?
And
that gives you the weekend.
Mine probably will be some sort of writing assignment that they'll have to write a little bit about what they've read so far. And I'm probably going to talk about maybe some puns or foreshadowing or something of that nature to discuss. Shakespeare loves, this is the tragedy of Romeo and Juliet, but he loves to throw in comedy and humor to add to his I think it's like comic relief. It gets so tense that every once in a while you need a little comic relief, or you're totally stressed out watching these two children whose parents hate each other, trying to fall in love and trying to be together when they know ultimately they cannot be together.
And also, I've read a lot about the Globe Theater when it was originally produced, and the people that would have attended his plays, and they wanted it all. I mean, they wanted comedy, tragedy. They wanted to laugh. They wanted to cry. They wanted to throw rotten vegetables at some of the villains, right?
That's right, exactly.
They were called the
So-
groundlings. If you got the cheap seats, they were called the groundlings, right?
Kind of like the pit when you go to a concert. You're right up front. And that's true. Those were the cheap seats. And it was the only entertainment they had. They didn't have Netflix or TikTok or video games or TV of any kind. So that was the highlight of their entertainment world, I guess.
Yeah. And they wanted to that crowd wanted to participate. They wanted to be a part of it. So Shakespeare, one of the reasons he was so successful is because he gave them the opportunity to do that. They could boo, they could throw rotten vegetables, they could cheer, they could cry, and get it all in a Shakespeare play.
Awesome.
So, yeah. So, Ms. Rosa, let's we'll come up with the assignment, which will be mostly writing, don't you think?
Absolutely. Yay, writing.
And at least in my classes, it'll be due on Monday. Or what are you going to do, you think?
Maybe Monday, that's fine. I will let my kids know, or maybe Friday, but maybe Friday so I can grade them over the weekend, only because they started yesterday.
Yeah.
Or no, not Friday. They don't have school on Friday. You're right.
It would either be Thursday or Monday, I guess.
Maybe Thursday, and then I can report back to you whether the assignment was satisfactory. I just want to ask you two if you have any questions.
So do you have like any idea what the writing assignment would be about? Like, that's my only question. What exactly are we supposed to do this week in terms of?
Well, you're watching the 5 acts of I'm sorry, the 5 scenes of Act 1, right?
Okay, that's it. Okay,
right.
You got that
understanding
down.
it, and
my PowerPoint, I hope, was pretty clear about that.
Yeah, but I just want to clarify on assessment questions. We do those as well, right?
Oh, the question that pops up when you hit more?
Yes. Do you want us to do those as well to like clarify and?
I want you to do them, but you don't have to like answer to me.
Okay, that was
just
the only
do them,
question I had.
and I know that it helps you and everybody's happy.
And that's what I did with my students, just to answer it it's a self-assessment that you are understanding it. So it's really good to do those questions. And if you're not, then maybe you need to look at the modern English version and try to figure out what's going on in that particular page that you're reading. So, but no, you don't have to submit your answers. And the writing assignment will be something about Shakespeare. You might have to research Shakespeare a little bit. I was thinking, and like I said, ultimately, as we get further in the play, I want to talk about puns that he uses and why he includes comedic relief. And you might be writing about those type of subjects. Is there any foreshadowing? Things like that. Who is a foil? Who is used as a foil for the play? And maybe you can come up with that and figure that out. So I wanted to talk a little bit, I don't know if anyone's going to watch this video, but I wanted to talk about Romeo. And as you read, you'll find that he is quite the romantic, hence the claim when someone says, oh, he's a real Romeo. It's because Romeo starts off the play in love with someone totally different, and he's pining away, he's depressed, and his friends are like, what's wrong with poor Romeo? And he just doesn't want to live anymore because Rosaline doesn't share his affection. And then 2 minutes later, he's madly in love with Juliet. So it shows you what is Shakespeare saying about young love.
Right.
It's very interesting.
Right.
So those are things you might want to write about.
I like the scene a little bit later, I forget which one it was, where he has a foreshadowing before they go to the party. He's like, oh, I can tell this is not going to end well.
That's right, he does. something's not, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of foreshadowing. So those are the type of things you'll probably have to write about.
Got it.
Good.